Hello YouTube, and welcome back to World of Tanks. This time I'm playing in the ARL 44, which is the French Tier 6 heavy tank. I do like this tank. It's not without its flaws, but it gets the job done. And part of what's interesting about the ARL 44 is the fact that it has a choice of 3 top guns. I'm currently using a 105mm gun that has better DPM, but poor handling and meh penetration. There's also the option of the long 90, which has worse DPM, worse alpha, but very, very, very good penetration, and the short 90, which is kind of in the middle. So there are tier 7s in this match, and I'm not entirely comfortable coming over here to the 8 line against those tier 7s, but somebody needs to do it. I've had too many games where this pathway was just left open and the enemy pushed right through. So, take a shot at the IS, bounce. As long as I don't take return fire, it's not a big deal. Trying to get an angle around the corner. I don't like mods, so I don't have a zoom mod or anything. Aiming, I do manage to put the shot in despite the fact that this KV-85 rammed into me. But alright. So I pull up on the corner again here, but he, I guess he really wants the corner, so I'll back off and let him take the corner. I'm not that keen on facing off against an ONI and an IS anyway. So I'm kind of looking around, debating what I ought to be doing with my vehicle here. Looks like the ONI is backed off, so I'll come out and take a shot at this AT-8. In retrospect, that was incredibly stupid. I guess I thought he would shoot at the KV-85, but really I just gave him the flat side of my vehicle. So I don't have an excuse for that one, it was just a bad play. Fortunately, he doesn't have a very big gun. So that corner's pretty jammed up, the KV-85's in the way, although now he just died. So I'm going to move around here on the side and try and get another angle. Looking... Hopefully if they push forward, I'll be able to get some side shots through these alleyways. I did have kind of a hard time telling exactly where the alleyway was. And, oh, well, I guess I wasn't looking at quite the right spot. But, see if I can get a shot on the ONI. That's the most more valuable target. I was a little worried that was going to hit his front armor and bounce. But, as it stands, I got some good damage in there. Then I'm going to side scurve out. The ARL's side armor is awful, so you cannot give hardly any of your side when doing this. But the low caliber gun of the AT-8 is struggling. And I was actually shooting at the side of the E2 there, but it hit the weak outside corner of the AT-8, so I'll take it. And looking, oh, it looks like the ONI slipped past, so I decide to pop out, and yep, there's another shot, side shot. You can see the kind of poor handling there. I'm not fully aiming on a lot of these. Because I'd have to sit there so long that they'd get back into cover. Checking to make sure those 2 Yag Panthers aren't threatening me. And then I decide to push forward, thinking I could maybe go all the way around and get the rear. But then this AT-8 pops out, so another shot, side shot. And then I was worried that the ONI was going to turn and come for me here, but he didn't, which is good, because with the big howitzer, a shot into my side could really ruin me. His rear armor is actually surprisingly strong, so I'm looking for the shot on his side, but he's not giving it to me. So I go ahead and take the shot on the AT-8. And now I'll push around the side of the ONI. KV-2 rams kind of foolishly, and then aim above the tracks but below the turret, and it's a relatively easy kill. It didn't need to be an easy kill. He could have made that really hard for me. I can't pin his frontal armor. But he kept giving me the side. He was kind of ignoring me, so that's his loss. So now I spot this leopard on the map threatening artillery. Most of our artillery is moving out, so I'm going to try and get back. I'm not sure why the FE-304 doesn't move. He's the fastest artillery here, but he just kind of doesn't want to live anymore. Getting back to that ONI, if I had the long 90, I could maybe penetrate his frontal armor, but I still wouldn't be doing that much damage that quickly because of the relatively poor stats of that gun otherwise. So I'm pretty happy with the 105 being able to put in some pretty devastating side shots. This leopard comes around and I put a nice meaty shot into him. You know, you don't have that alpha damage with a 90mm gun, so I'm happy to have that. But unfortunately, he keeps getting just around the corner before I can get a line on him. And so I am now in the awkward position of chasing a tank that I know I can't catch. Which is never a situation that you want in a heavy tank of any kind. The ARL is reasonably mobile, but it's still definitely a heavy tank. And I was really hoping this T-20 would give me some more support. I know he's not got a lot of health and the Leopard could easily kill him, but as a medium, he's just better equipped. As long as he shoots first, he should be fine. As it stands, it looks like the Leopard's going all the way around, and he's already killed another of our artillery. So I turn around slowly. That decision to turn around was badly delayed. I felt like I was just 2 steps behind the action this whole time. But I'm coming around. Well, I got a shot. Wow. Whew. I'll take it. That was a very lucky shot. I didn't aim hardly at all, and with the handling on this gun, it could have very easily missed, but I thought he was going to get around that wreck, and I just was going to lose my chance. So RNG just smiled at me today. And it is something that can be kind of irritating about World of Tanks. Sometimes it doesn't matter how well you play, you gotta be lucky. Because the RNG can screw you, and it can give you a free win. As it stands, with the threat to our rear dealt with, I can now advance and try and support against these last couple of remaining tanks. So now I've got a shot, aim, and whiff. That was just a bad shot. You know, at the time, I felt like that should have been a pretty easy shot, and I was frustrated for having missed it. But looking at the replay, I squeezed that shot off way behind the target. I don't have anyone to blame but myself there. A little scared that we lost another tank there, and I'm still behind the action, but I've got a shot here, so aim. Okay, got it in. And the T-43 cleaned up both of those last 2 kills, thus securing us the game. So, now we'll take a look at the post-game stats. So, I did end up getting the high caliber in that match, as well as the mastery, which I didn't really expect. I didn't think I had done quite that well. Actually, when we looked at the team score, I actually did not get that high caliber by very much, but I'll take it. I feel the key part of that match was the damage that I was able to do to the Oni, and ultimately the kill that I was able to secure there. And part of what I thought was interesting about this match was the takedown of a higher tier vehicle by exploiting the mistakes made by that vehicle's drivers. The Oni could have been a huge factor in that match. He could have really given our whole team problems with his very thick armor and powerful gun. But I was able to put my tier 6 tank in a position where I could exploit things that I knew were weak about his tank and ultimately take him out of the game and end up with a very big impact in the game myself, despite the fact that I was not top tier. Whenever you're going into a game, you need to look at the tier list, but don't despair if you're not on top, because there's a lot you can do in almost any vehicle. In this case, I had lucky accuracy, but sometimes that's what you need, and that allowed me to do a fair amount of damage. I did not need to block very much with my armor, because I, for the most part, didn't get shot at. I avoided the enemy line of fire. I tried to put myself in a situation where I was not the focus of their fire by moving around kind of to the side and taking pot shots through the alleys, by pulling back and waiting to make sure they had lost interest in me. I did take a few hits from that AT-8, but it looks like he must have had the stock gun, because he would have done more damage than that with the 17-pounder. I did actually have a surprising amount of assistance damage as well, mostly spotting people on that 8-line. So ultimately, no matter how big the tank you're facing, they all have weak spots. They all have drawbacks. And you need to know both those drawbacks and weaknesses of your enemies, as well as the strengths of your vehicle. In this match, I knew that I was reasonably mobile in my ARL, and that I had a fairly solid damage output, having a good combination of alpha and DPM. And I knew that the Oni, while it had very, very strong frontal armor, and actually surprisingly strong rear armor, I knew that I could exploit the weak side armor to get in some good damage, and that allowed me to take down a higher tier vehicle and contribute a lot to my team's victory. And in my opinion, the games where you're able to do that are some of the most fun that you can have in World of Tanks. Because if you're just raffle stomping people in your top tier whatever, that can be fun. But it's even better when you shut down somebody who by rights should have been able to beat you, just because his machine was more powerful. So, I hope you guys found it to be an interesting replay. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.